I confessed it.
Hey, John.
I feel, that's how I feel. Also, breakfast is kind of hard to mess up. That's how I feel. I like myself. Good morning.
Did you write on for like 5 hours? 6 hours.
Well, it works.
That was an impromptu. We gotta get out of
It is much better.
Hey, Travis.
Got a lot of travel, so it's nice. Not really. So I'm just traveling. So I went to Colorado. I'm doing over here. So I have to travel once a semester. We work basically. At some point I'll go to church. Yeah, just for one year. And then switching from, I was a classic employee down south, I think I retired 15 years
But like your haircut? This is my first time seeing it.
It's still pretty good. Yeah, I'm taking a full. I just got a semi-slower, so I try to get that slower. And then having it occur. That's the part. I'm actually it's just I just have this idea, so I write it, I believe it, like or we read it, because I'll just think it's right. So, but we don't write
We have, I think
Today, I have a class. I have 3 projects, 3 papers,
but they're like, you don't want to be there, but
that's why I feel like
That's right.
they're all like, I gotta stay on top. So that's, without it, it takes a lot of time.
4 a.m.
also we look at it, like this is your house, like, really, Yeah, the whole screen. I'm like, forget it. Already? Tell me.
About a week ago, I was
Really
like,
tried to go deep. I'm not going to city to him, but you have to tell him all this. Oh, I know who she was. Yeah. I walked. That's funny. Good for him. Good for him.
how was he settled in? Was his place nice? He was talking about
Small.
his roommate. Well, I mean, it's a college dorm.
Did he like it? Did he communicate good?
Yes, yeah.
That's what he said.
He was excited about it.
Yeah. His roommate is great.
Because they didn't know him, but he knew somebody, right?
Like we have a mutual pastor friend.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
He's doing great. He's doing great. I mean, it's cool. So like, he's feeling things. He's keeping on the rack. So like, we were like, hey, you want to come to dinner with us? A couple nights ago. It's like, we're like, that's great. But you know, deep down, he's like, I really like to just be with you, but I know I should.
So I'm gonna eat my vegetables.
So honestly, every time we invite, like, you want us to come to breakfast with you here? Or should we? You want to come to Cracker Barrel or we just with your friends? So like, let me get back to you. Every time. So I mean, getting at that. He's and now he's Josh is in Texas. Well, let's go.
It might have a few.
Yes, I did. Yes, I like first thing in the morning. I'm looking. Where are you? On the campus. Can I see? Did you wake up on time? Did you get your breakfast?
He doesn't have classes
Tomorrow. His first class is I'm kind of like, are you ever healthy?
You know, sleep is also still important.
Sleep is more important. I'm afraid of sleep. He's so responsible. I am not yet. He needs it. I'll pick up all of. Hi, Dawn. How are you?
Except the copy the notes. I'm gonna take it back. Just Zoom link. You go to
HQ. We go to HQ.
However, if you go to the YouTube link, it goes to our website, com/live, I think it is, and then you can join on.
Will you send that to me? You can just ping it to her.
I can also just send her the link.
That'd be great. That'd be great. You can be there when I try to call them.
And the notes are like identical.
Everything's at the right.
What I'm saying
That may be why they don't have it.
I'm not dancing it. But what I'm saying is, somewhere on
I love it. And I have like
so I can send you a video.
yeah. My parents were very why? It's not the
What Bible did he?
I think it's in first. So.
Marcia, this turned out excellent.
Oh, good.
If you said nothing, I would have said
Hi, friend.
Dottie.
I'm good.
How we doing? You running miles? Oh. Just three, that's
I
side eye and
But he needed to transcripts on it. So he ordered it yesterday. So
It's not there, but it's there.
more there than it was.
You can walk in and not be like, oh, really?
I actually purchased it in my own chapel, so I can write it. Love you. Bye. How's the family? How's this new school you're going for your kids? Are they liking it? Was it boring? Because they're too smart, or is it boring because they just...
We got a guy over there by it.
Where's Brad?
Yes, they're...
Like, especially lights.
Well, everybody, welcome back to Leadership Chapel. It's been all summer, and so just because we didn't have chapel doesn't mean we shouldn't honor you if you had a birthday this summer. So, if you had a birthday in June,
Wow.
July,
Wow.
or August,
Wow.
today's your day. Anybody?
I know at least one.
You do? Yeah, I see that hand, Natasha. What's your birthday?
August 2nd.
Oh, happy birthday. Cool.
Where's the card?
Right here. I
You
got
have
some.
to, you have to come up.
Come on up.
If you have a birthday,
Come on up. Who else? Who else had a summer birthday? For real? One person?
Dave.
Dave, get on up here. Wow.
There you go.
There you go. Who
Stay here,
else?
stay here, we're gonna pray over you.
Anybody else? Birthdays? Summer birthdays?
June, July, August
You got
birthday.
that? You should. You.
You never know how people read shy. Took Pastor Dave.
I know.
If you get up here.
I don't know when all your birthdays are, but so far they haven't been this year, which is weird. We got 27 in December. Okay, cool.
Well, we love you guys.
We
Pray real
do.
quick.
We do.
Thanks for being a part of our lives and praying for a great year for you, all your family. So extend your hands. Thank you, Lord, for Natasha and Pastor Dave, and they're a part in our life, and we're just so grateful and blessed to have them. Our lives are richer because of them, because of what they bring, not just as a minister and a leader, but as a person to us, to our relationships, to the Ribbon Campus and beyond. And so we're just so grateful. Thank you for the kingdom impact that just radiates from them. And I just pray for every role that they fill, You've given what they need today, this week, this month, this year. Give them all that they need. Help them to be healthy inside and out, and help others to be healthy by Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Happy birthday.
We also have something else to celebrate here.
That's right. Seth Ammon.
Aw.
Seth
So I gotta start calling him pastor now?
Yes.
I
I
started
would
in
request
June.
that for the next
He did.
30 days, it's the Reverend Most High. As we do. Seth has officially completed his credentialing with the Assemblies of God, and he has, a license to preach, everybody. So when he comes in and he tells you what to do, he's now licensed to do so. Congratulations, Seth. Well done, hard work. It's no joke getting through classes and interviews and applications and all the things. Tests.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you? Can you hear us okay?
And she says no sound is coming through. So she can hear us.
Yep.
They'll figure it out. Perfect. Okay. You want to do wins or you want to?
Yeah, a few wins, and then just want to share just briefly with us together, and then I have the lesson. And I don't want to lose too much time.
Great.
So
I know we have a whole summer of wins.
just 5 minutes, rapid fire. What's
Yeah.
something we can celebrate in your life personally or in ministry around you?
Highlights. I would say because we haven't met, anything that happened this summer is free game.
I got one.
Yeah.
I don't think I shared it with this circle, but back in June, we applied for a county grant and for our worship development program, and they granted it to us, and
Wow.
so $15,000 is
That
coming this
is
month.
awesome. That's
Just like
very
for
cool.
training students?
Yeah.
Wow.
So cool.
That's great. Congratulations. Good. What else?
Sunday, we had, Natasha was out of town, her and her family, on a much well-due vacation to Hawaii, and so she was gone, and our worship team did an incredible job there. They were trained up and ready. And Pastor Araya was preaching on Sunday as well, and she just did a phenomenal job. And it was a great Sunday. So I'm grateful for leadership teams that A, can preach, or B, can step out for a week without them feeling like the wheels are falling off and not fully able to relax or spend family time. And also the church is still in great motion, so good.
That's awesome.
And I piggyback off of that too, because our, Bridget and I do the kids ministry together, and Bridget, I should say, hi Adrian from Reagan campus, but Bridget has started to do worship. She's got a wonderful friend here who encouraged her to use that gift, and it's a blessing because, Sunday mornings we're usually like heads down, staying over in the kids' wing, but she is very gifted in worship, and it's a blessing to get to see her to use her giftings outside of it and have the kids team be able to, just come together. It's not, we know that we can't, we're not the only ones, but like releasing and trusting that like I can walk away and do something else and this can still be great. So like our nursery and our preschool teams have just like, they got so excited seeing them step up so that she can expand her ministry is a huge blessing.
That's well done. They're great wins. How was youth camp?
Wow.
How was
Youth camp was really good.
Mexico, youth camp, kids camp.
We don't know.
Yeah.
It was
We haven't paid attention.
LA. You mean
LA.
Sorry. Yeah.
It was a lot.
You said
It was
Mexico.
really
I'm at
good.
missions trip.
Sorry. We're having a conversation about where we went on mission. Go ahead.
I'm just trying to. Summer camp was great. There's a lot of students. We brought a lot of new leaders. I know at least for Modesto, brought a few different new leaders and got to just pour into them and open up their eyes and what it looks like to serve the kids. And so I would just say it's been a great launching point for the rest of the summer. See the students come back and they're like, I don't want to live the same. And so it's just been a really, really good summer with youth after summer camp. And then Valley Mission Trip.
Well, the mission trip was great. The Heart LA Church, specifically for Pastors David and Randall, they felt like if we wouldn't have come, that whole prep week would have just been them too. And so I think we really blessed them. And then the day of event, they just had such a great turnout. The city came and they volunteered, like their city representatives.
Cool.
The police, a couple of police officers came, and then they invited them to come join them for National Night Out and to bring extra backpacks. And
What
so,
was the event that you prepped for Saturday?
oh yeah, so they were doing a big like back to school event with groceries and shoes, backpacks filled with supplies, along with feeding them, free haircuts, free services. The city came out and offered free services. And so they had, people started lining up at like 8 a.m. It didn't start till 11. So they were already lining up around the door. It was hot. And so it was a warm day. But it was wonderful. But we started early, so we got everything prepped. We started at 10 instead of 11. And then we got everything cleaned up within an hour, which was huge because we were moving pallets up the stairs during the week, filling stuff, and then moving pallets basically back down. And so it was a great event. It was a wonderful event. Our teenagers that went, we had young adults and teenagers that had gone from the Modesto campus in particular. And they loved it. They got to pray with people. They got to minister to people. They went out, they canvassed, they did prayer walks. They got to pray, offer waters, hygiene kits out at the local area. So and they also got to go to Santa Monica Pier, which was great, you know. And then we did the Send conference, which Andy Bird puts on with like circuit riders and Jesus Image. And so it's all about sending out people. Like the whole conference is about sending out young people to the nations and to their neighborhoods and their schools. And so on that Thursday night, because they had an event at the church, we got kicked out. We couldn't be at the church. So we went to the conference and they gave us free tickets, which was awesome. So I messaged them. I wanted to pay for some, so we paid for some, and then they gave us like 10 free tickets after that. So it was great.
And it was in partnership with Convoy.
Yeah, it was a partnership with Convoy of Hope, the back to school event. So we served Convoy of Hope and the Heart LA who helped plan.
Yeah, we made almost 1,000 bags of groceries, and Seth carried 250 of them himself outside.
This is because he's a reverend.
Yeah,
Yes.
Reverend Most High.
Yeah, that's right. He can do such things now. All right, yeah.
Travis from Ripon campus. It's just been amazing to see the men stepping into new roles and roles in serving, both on security and prayer team and starting to step out. And then a win from last night, Pastor Kim and Rochelle brought all the group leaders together and then just kind of shared the heart on what the pastors want to see going forward with the groups. And so that was really amazing to be able to sit there. And then there was a couple guys around that table that a year ago would have probably vomited in the hallway, asking them to be there because of the nerves and being in front of them. So just really great to see the men stepping into new roles and stepping into serving.
That's awesome. Good. Well, I would say, unless there's any other burning on your heart, from Modesto campus, with us having been out for our sabbatical,
Do you see what she does to me?
I turn to
She
you.
starts to say something to you, but she looks at me.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous.
Don't be nervous. I have a
Just
full
look at me.
sentence.
Just
I have a
look
full
at me.
sentence. A full thought. With us being gone on sabbatical and having Pastor Marlowe lead the Modesto team, Pastors Kim and Dave lead one church, and then just the team. What'd you say? Did I say Kim and Dave? Oh man, funny joke. I always say Kim's name first. And it means nothing. Oh, poor Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, he's noticed it for 20 years.
It's true. It's true. And then just the team. I mean, so many of the wins around the Ripon campus were we had somebody out, we had people to fill in. When we got back into town, we went to a worship night at Culture, and one of our newer connecting families, who's kind of been in and out for a lot of years, but the last year has actually started attending. She came up to me and said, "Am I allowed to say hi?" Because I was still on sabbatical, and I'm like, "Please, I can talk to people." So she walked over and hugged me, and then she basically said something along the lines of, "This was the best summer ever." Sometimes summers are kind of like, meh. But with you guys gone, wow, it was really great. And she goes, "I don't mean that as like a bad on you." And I said, "No, I don't think there could be a greater compliment. You want to be gone, and you want the ministry to thrive.
Yeah.
It's not about us. We don't do the work. He does it. We serve." And so I would just say a big thank you to all of you. All of you.
It was wonderful to leave and rest and not worry. The only the only time we thought like, oh man, was when I could tell my kids were leaving the house early morning on a Sunday morning, and it was Riley and Colby leaving for worship, and I was like, those two are gonna leave together, and I don't get to see it. That was my only heartache, but other than that, it was awesome.
Well, Lord, thank you for the wins, and all that we get to celebrate and continue to do that. Amen.
Amen.
Let's take like 3 minutes. So if you need to use the bathroom, you want to refill coffee, please. We don't like to take food or drinks home. So make sure you go get as much as you possibly can.
I want to squeeze one in. This is late, I'm sure, but I just want to give a shout out to Josh, because he took care of a very large funeral
Oh, yeah.
Saturday, and he did a great job of trying to juggle everything.
Thank you, Josh.
Well done, Josh.
All right, 3 minutes. Grab some extra stuff. Use the bathroom when you're ready.
You were already here and gone.
Jacob.
There was some pictures, but it went on.
Tear down was 11.
I asked about okay.
We do. We got small coolers also. And the way that those microphones work, like,
You could turn off.
you can carry them here.
But you can see now, there's a baby. They're coming today.
I was also, I can hear you guys at the tree.
Right.
But I can't hear that.
Yeah. Get water.
Like it's.
It's a license, a site license.
Like drop the door.
They were expecting a lot.
Yeah, they were expecting 150 to 500.
Yeah.
And we had set up 450, and we had 51 chairs to go.
I already switched spots.
And we never had to use them.
This is pretty much side.
Do we have that many chairs anyway? Are there?
It's not my sister.
Yeah, we had,
Anyway.
with everything we set up, we still had 9
Oh,
stacks
no,
of
no, no, no.
chairs.
Okay.
I was a little.
It was a very interesting celebration.
Here we have a leak in our air conditioning in this part of the building, so hence the
Heat.
yeah, as in whatever chemicals.
Apparently they're coming to repair today.
Hey, guess what? My win, Sunny El Toronto has saved us tens of thousands of dollars on HVAC this summer. So, why?
Who's that?
That's my dad. He works for free. He's here somewhere working.
Oh,
I know. I said, I said, come eat with us. He's like,
No. You never know what's gonna bless come out of his mouth.
bless the Lord, I don't know.
All right, we all back?
I think so. It's done, but.
I know we've had the meeting 5%.
You want to check that one, or you good? Was that Chuck Norris jersey, or is that somebody else? Is that
No, that's Lando
is that an
Norris.
F1?
F1.
Norris.
Yeah. I figured Norris was here, but then I just saw Norris.
Make it a movie, make it a movie.
Chuck Norris died this last year, didn't he?
Yeah. Keep going.
I totally forgot about that. until you just said it.
Chuck Norris. Before I give the lesson today, some of the Modesto campus heard us reflect on our time at sabbatical and just different things that are happening seasonally on Sunday a couple weeks ago. This last Sunday, we were with Colby on Sunday morning. We were at Southeastern University in the first of their fall conference, which was kind of like the only one that they invite parents to. And so the president spoke, and this was kind of like that prayer send-off moment between parents and their kids. And so it's really odd right now as I process. Like you'll hear in today's lesson, just certainly themes that apply to someone who's been on sabbatical or just a Sabbath, as it relates to the weekly Sabbath lifestyle. And so it's really weird having had time for all that and extra space this summer for family, for marriage, for family, for kids. And then here at the end of it to drop off your oldest son. I was like, should it have been at the beginning? Because now I feel like I'm coming back to people like fully wrecked. You know, I feel like on some level when you just process how you're feeling, you want to come back and you're like, things are awesome and things are great. But there is that tension that we live in. And I don't think this is just because we've dropped a kid off. I think the more mature we become in our relationship with the Lord and in our personal awareness of self, I think the more we realize that in life, and it magnifies the older you get, you're living in that tension of grieving and gratitude. And some of you heard me talk about that. And so that just feels pretty real, pretty raw this morning as I sit here. Yesterday I got home after flying home from Orlando, from Central Florida, and I was I changed my clothes and we were walking downstairs to eat and spend time as a family. And I stopped at the T of our hallways and looked to my right. And I was like, oh, my son's room's over there. I just knew he was gone. I walked in there and just kind of had a moment where you feel all the feels. And of course now my other son's taken over that room, and so.
No, it's not empty.
And then we had Bagwith in Jackson's room right next door. Who Bagwith went to see his family in Kansas City. Now suffering through car trouble to get back, so we're praying for Bagwith. I guess the engine needs a new engine, which that's basically needs a new car. So
I know a good mechanic, his name's Sonny.
he's in the wrong state. So, you know, the Lord just, He uses these kinds of things. He uses this, He uses trials, He uses our physical, mental and emotional health, especially physically, as you know, the truth is the older we get, I believe the more opportunity we have to be mature, more healthy emotionally, spiritually, mentally. But we know that the older we get, the less physically healthy we get. And so there's that, which of course affects all of our life as well. And so there's just, the older we get, for you that are younger, the older we get, the more you find yourself living in that tension of grieving and gratitude. And how we honor the Lord in that and remain fully His, and it's just the centerpiece of discipleship. The hallmark of discipleship is maturity, and it really sets in where we're going through loss and change. And so SCU is an incredible place. It is there's a lot of great schools within our fellowship, the Assemblies of God, but it's the hot one right now. It's growing. 4,000 kids on campus, 15,000 overall through the online programs. Phenomenal leadership. People that I went to college with in Texas at Southwestern, and I was in bands with, like, we descended on a thing because there's a mutual vice president guy named Justin Lathrop. Some of you have met him. Anyway, he invited us pastors and families all to eat at this restaurant. We descend on this place, and there's just like 12, 14 of us. But like all of us were like in a band together in college, and we're like, our kids are all here at the same time. Like this is their first year. So it was really just kind of wild to think of. That's when you know you're old. When the people you went to college, the kids are all at the same school together. So, Marcia, any reflections just real quick here for this group on sabbatical and Colby and how you're thinking? I know that the big thing I'm just seeing the opportunity is Colby leaves a big hole in our family, not just because he's a kid, but the kind of kid he is, a leader, he's a glue person. One of those people, he's probably everybody's favorite in the house.
Do you have a daughter sitting back here?
Well, I'm saying he's probably her favorite.
Oh, I
Which
see.
I wish weren't the case, because I want to be her
I got you. Meaning everybody equally misses Colby.
He's not my favorite. I have one and only daughter, and she definitely is the favorite. The boys know it.
Actually sending dagger eyes at
That's normal.
I was talking about, like,
I get
like
you.
Jackson, Lloyd Jackson and Riley feel about Colby
Yeah.
is pretty special. And so there's this massive hole, and I've been telling myself there's an opportunity in this hole to lean in. I'm so grateful Riley's here. She's not able to be here all the time, but we said skip school today, it's fine. We're those kinds of parents. Jackson, I just feel there's an opportunity for me as a dad to lean into the relationship with these other two and do better. Where I've given a lot of time to Colby, not just because it's 1/3 of 3, right? But also because Colby and I share so many interests, sports, fantasy football, just so much stuff there. It's just really easy for him to catch a lot more extra time. And so now I get to take and tune into their interests differently. And I'm super excited about that opportunity with Riley and Jackson, both of them. But now another son who I get to raise up to be a man, and he probably needs a little more attention right now. And so that's one of the things I'm processing with him. Anything else?
I want to say 2 things. One is we went to 2 churches when we were in Europe that were just domination of church. My brain just went blank.
Well, like attending on Sundays, or just in general in our
So the church, the last church we went to.
The first church we went to in Killarney
No.
was a non-denominational,
Yeah,
but you
not
had
worried about
connection to the AG.
Nope.
Second church was in Assembly of God Church, this
Nope.
general
I know
superintendent.
that one.
I know that, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Then we went to England. Well, on my sabbatical, we got to do a lesson at an Anglican church.
Anglican, that was the word I was looking for.
In Oxford.
In
But
Oxford?
we didn't attend church there, but
Right.
we got to meet the pastor and
We
he
had
did
a
one of the
whole
lectures.
teaching, yes. And then we had went to another Anglican church our
Which
last
it's
Sunday.
an evangelical, it's the weirdest thing because you think Anglican, you think Protestant, but like more like Catholic, traditional, Lutheran, that kind of thing. And it's really interesting because this church, have you ever heard of Alpha? It's like the discipleship. So that this church birthed Alpha. Tim Hughes of Soul Survivor, who, you know, if you're like my age, that like was a prominent worship leader in Matt Redmond and that. He was the worship leader of this church. So we were in the middle of London going to this cathedral, and it's like, you know, it's like our kind of church.
Which is what I was gonna say. So the cool thing for me was I sat in 2 churches and watched the Spirit move in such an apparent supernatural way, and it was so outside of the box that my brain would have thought it would happen. You know, we went to a couple AG churches that you expect the Spirit to move, and then we went to these churches that in my mind are not, they love the Lord, but I would not expect a move of the Spirit, and it was incredible. So I said to myself, boy, when I come back, that's something that I want to remember. I could get so locked in my box that I forget that the Lord is so much greater than my own expectation or assumptions. And so just to bring back to this room, like the Lord is doing a fresh thing.
Yes.
And everywhere. Certainly, we went to these 2 churches that were awesome. It was awesome.
In the evangelical side of the Anglican Church, there is a move that is supposedly happening. It's not everywhere, but it's in a lot of churches, and that's really refreshing to see.
Yeah, it was very cool.
And we just got to visit churches of all different sizes. Like one of the churches, there was probably half the people in this room at the church, and that was our Sunday worship. And another was a church plant from a few years ago that the superintendent of Ireland, who we've become friends with, was basically, he's still a superintendent, but he's going back into pastoring and taking over this church plant. And so it's like we caught it in that season where they're in this family, they're coming back to the local church. That was really, really cool to see the excitement there in them and in the church. Went to the church of, his name's Glenn Barrett. He's spoken at CMN conference and a few other places. He's the superintendent of the UK, but he's also, or Great Britain, but he's also a senior pastor. And he also heads up, he took over for Rob Hoskins and Rob Ketterling and Barnabas, who's the superintendent from Tanzania. These are all people that if you go to different conferences, you kind of know who they are. And he took over as the lead for the Global Church Planting Commission for the Assemblies of God. And so we've just become connected through his director for church planting for the World Assembly of God Congress. Adam is his name, and he spent time with us in Oxford. So it's just, there's just a really cool overlap that's happening that I really do sense, even for one church, that our days in multiplication are not finished. I don't think any of us think that, but we're just real prayerful, ready for the Lord to speak and move as He desires. And there's a thing happening nationally and internationally in that scope. So just I bring a good word from the world in that regard, and all the people that we've been able to connect with this sabbatical that are there in this community.
Yeah, absolutely. So on one hand, something I totally didn't expect, and good news. Not on the other hand, but part B to that is, when we got back to the States, we went to 2 different churches, essentially every Sunday. We hit like an early service and a late service. We went to large churches, small churches. We went to all kinds of churches. And every week we got back in the car and said, one church is pretty great. I would rather be at one church than there. And we went to good churches. And
We went to Trinity in Escalon with Pastor Arnie, and then we drove by Heritage in Escalon and just waited in order to get to Home Church in Lathrop, and then we went to Destiny,
Rockland and Sacramento.
We did the whole tour between those 2 places, and then we went the following week to
New
Doug
Life.
Heisel's church, New Life in San Ramon, and then your home church,
Bay Church in
Bay Church,
Concord.
formerly Calvary Temple. So
I mean, we hit some great churches.
made our rounds.
We sure did. And you go thinking, I'm going to learn. The Lord's going to touch me. Listen, I went to meet and worship Jesus, and I needed it. But also, this is what we do. So you go in with the expectation to like, I'm going to see some things and go, that's really good. I should bring that back. That's really, and quite honestly, Kyle and I left each week going, one church is really good. And we are a healthy church. We are honoring the Lord and loving people well. We did not, I kind of felt like we might go and think, well, we got a lot of work to do. I just thought the Lord affirmed so many good things. And so for this group who works so hard to be faithful where the Lord's planted you, to minister, you all didn't get to hit, 16 different churches this summer, I don't think. But out of all the churches we hit, I still come back to one church, and this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be. So, and it is because the Lord has called me here. But it's also because you guys we are effective, we are doing a good job, we've got a great team, and the Lord is moving. At one church, there was an opportunity for somebody to accept Christ. One.
Really?
I left so many churches and went, they didn't give any kind of response, right? Altar call, and nothing. And I was like, yeah, you're right. No.
You're saying there's only one that you
Only
remember?
one that I can remember. Now, we left Pastor Arnie's a little early to catch the next one. So that very well that could happen there. But there are just things like that like,
a few of them,
just
a
as
few of
an
them
illustration.
offered it as they closed, like come forward and
If you need,
pray
yeah.
for it.
But not even like if you haven't met Jesus, today your life can be changed forever. Not even like that. So, okay, I'm gonna get out of your hair. So there's my 2 things.
All right.
Good.
We're glad you're back.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. Very excited. You're catching me in a weird moment, so I'm probably more excited than I look. I was like, what do I even want to be here? Just being real, because I want to give you my best, but I feel empty in some ways, but full in some ways. It's really wild.
Kyle's not used to feelings.
Yeah.
He has cried. Feelings are hard. He has cried his weight in tears. Okay, one last story. You can't interrupt. We were in Ireland, just the 2 of us, and it was Colby's birthday. So I posted for Colby's birthday. Kyle's like, I want to post for Colby's birthday. 6 hours of preparation. No, I'm not exaggerating. 6 hours. of writing the perfect thing, of finding the perfect pictures. And at some point I was like sitting in, we were at like a little bed and breakfast kind of place. So I was sitting in front of the fireplace reading because Ireland was cold. It was awesome. And I'm like, where did Kyle go? And I find him in a chair just crying. And I was like, you gotta stop. You need to be done. You've given enough time. Like, he doesn't even have social media. He's never gonna see this. But like for Kyle, this was like the expression of his soul.
I still don't know if you've seen it. You know, his sister.
Well, the funny thing is, I tried to show him in the car, and he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, cool." And I was like, "You better give more attention. Your dad's 6 hours writing that thing." So, anyways, just a little window into Kyle's feelings. His heart is just bleeding everywhere.
Yeah,
And it's
we're
still there.
praying for our son in the altars, you know, this service, and then he drops us off at our hotel, and then takes us, because we were smart, like we got to get out of there, you know, out of it. So we thought we needed to be there till Monday, but really we had a whole afternoon, and so she's like, "What about Disney World?" So there was this special ticket that they kicked everybody out of Disney World, and we got just like from like 7 to midnight. We didn't stay till midnight because we're old. And anyway, our daughter is so mad at us for going to Disney World. But he's dropping us off at Disney, and that's our goodbye. In the parking lot of Disney, and so of course we're just hugging and praying.
Crying.
And I'm just crying. So I'm here today. I was like, I don't want to be at Disney World. So yeah, I said I don't know if I really want to be here, but it's just. Let's jump into this and see if I start crying at any point. You just know what's going on. Today I want to talk about lawn care. I know that's an odd thing. I have a love-hate, mostly hate relationship with lawn care. I want my yard to look amazing, but I do not have the skills to do it. And some of that might be more of a heart thing than just a skills thing. But I hope today gives you some just vivid imagery, life lesson imagery that you can commit to memory. So a question for you, and I think you just follow along with this. What do you think is the greatest problem that people have with their lawns? With their yards or grass? You know, most people probably say weeds pretty quickly. I mean, that would be a big problem. Or maybe the wrong kind of grass that grows like weeds. And that's more so my problem is like the bad grass takes over and you want the good grass, and the bad grass pushes out the good grass. But the real answer is water. Most of you probably know this. It's nothing new. The real answer is water. The internet, which only has true things on it, it says this: the biggest mistakes people make with their lawn is underwatering, as you might expect, and overwatering. In fact, more people actually trying to work on their yard, not just letting it be, but like trying to fix it, they make the second mistake, overwatering, and make it more than the first. Underwatering, which obviously can kill the grass, but it gives room for drought-tolerant weeds to grow. And on the other side, overwatering, which leads to, number one, shallow roots. Interesting, let's come back to that one. Number two, fungal diseases. That sounds incredibly gross. As long as my grass gets it and myself and nobody in my family gets that, that's great. And then three, a buildup of thatch. Does anybody know what thatch is? I don't know what thatch is, so doesn't sound good. Overwatering actually brings its own different kinds of weeds that love the extra water. And so in both cases, with underwatering and overwatering, in both cases, weeds thrive. But it all comes back to water, not necessarily the weeds. And so one last thing I read, watering too frequently but with light amounts. So this is what we think, well, I'll water more often. That's the idea, but like less amounts. Also promotes shallow roots and disease. So, just the internet says, deep soaking, infrequent watering is better. Point is, you have to get it just right. Healthy watering deepens and thickens the lawn, actually abating and crowding out anything that would come against it. So we are, of course, applying all this to our souls, to marriage, to family, to our ministry. Water being the investment of time and focus that we give to all those things, the investment of energy, where we choose to have or extend grace for ourselves, for others, and then weeds and the thatch, and most certainly the fungi, being the things that the enemy sends. So let's talk today about a few, we'll call them lousy lawn care habitudes I want to steal that last word, habitudes, from author Tim Elmore. Some of you know who he is. He has this phenomenal book series called Habitudes. Because these things we want to talk about, they're not just habits, but in some cases they're attitudes as well. They're bad habits or they're bad attitudes. So it's not just something wrong with our actions, but our priorities and our mentality. So lousy lawn care habitude number 1, that is watering the ground all around you, but not where you're at. Imagine you're watering the ground around you, you're circling, you're watering, and watering out there where Don is, or Marcia is, trying to reach out there where the Hammonds are. This big circle, but the immediate ground at my feet or your feet is parched, it's dying, it's dead. As leaders, we can water everywhere around us, never taking the time to water ourselves, our soul. As husbands and wives, as fathers and mothers, we can water everyone around us, and we can neglect ourselves. We can neglect our own family if we're taking time to make sure in ministry everything is cared for, taken care of. Point is, point the hose down. Here in this number 1 thing. Mark 8:36 says, "For what profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul?" What profit a woman if she gained the whole world but lose their marriage, her marriage, but lose one's kids? At whatever stage of ministry and your journey you are, you've got to contemplate this. You've got to remember that what profit a man if he does all this but forgets about this. How do we fight this lousy lawn care habitude? I want to talk about the single biggest way outside of spending time in God's presence that we water the ground of our soul and the ground of those we love, and that's margin. If you know me, you hear me talk about margin a ton. You'll probably recognize some of these words, but they're just worth saying. Margin is the space between our load and our limits. Our limits are what we're able to carry. Our load is what we choose to carry. When our load consistently infringes or even exceeds our limits, our margin lessens, it even disappears, and all important things suffer. We have to plan for margin. Planning for margin means planning for the unplannable. It means we understand what's possible for finite creatures on our best day, and then knowing we can't live there every day, so we schedule less than that most days. Here's the problem. We plan our schedules actually with reverse margin. If everything goes better than expected, then we'll be able to do everything. But does it ever? I mean, if we look at the life of Jesus, if we learn from him, Mark 1:32 says, "At evening, when the sun had set, they brought to him all who were sick and those who were demon-possessed." The whole city was gathered together at the door. I mean, how many people? Lots of people. Lots of things. Lots of opportunities. Then he healed many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons. Verse 35. Now in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, he went out and departed to a solitary place, and there he prayed. He went out by himself to be refreshed, to be renewed. I'm reading this book. I'm almost done. I'm supposed to be done by midnight tonight because my summer class is due. Another crazy timing here. I've got to finish 3 assignments today. Reading this book by Ruth Haley Barton, Strengthening the Soul of Your Leadership, Seeking God in the Crucible of Ministry. I mean, what words?
Wait, say it again? Sorry.
Strengthening the Soul of Your Leadership by Ruth Haley Barton. And the subtitle for the book is Seeking God in the Crucible of Ministry. Bottom line, if you really want to make yourself constantly having to adjust and defer and prefer the Lord and everywhere else, and just in this, it's not a vase, what's the pressure vice? Is it a vice? Vice, go into ministry. It's like the big key. You might have a career on the outside, but lean into more involvement in ministry at the church or whatever, and you'll get a taste of this, because it's the constant laying down of self. It's the constant admitting that you are not all that. You are not any more ready than most other people, but you should be, and you need to keep trying to be. And I could give you just so many quotes from this book as she talks about things like solitude and silence, and ultimately that big word soul, which we'll talk about at the end. But so I think about that as I read this scripture about Jesus getting alone and finding moments where things are silent and he's in solitude. And Simon and all those who were with him searched for him. When they found him, they said to him, "Everyone's looking for you. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Don't you see all these needs? You have all the power in the world to heal every single one of their needs, to impact change and do all this. But like, you're not there. How can you do it if you're not there?" Yet Jesus still got away. I mean, we have the good news of Jesus Christ. We can affect people. We can spend time with people. The needs are unending, but we have nothing to give to people if we have nothing to give to people. Luke 5:15 says, "However, the report went out concerning him all the more, and great multitudes." How many people? Great multitudes, unending people came together to hear and to be healed by him and other infirmities. And so he himself often, how much? Often withdrew to the wilderness. It's almost like the more ministry increased, the more there needed to be the balance over here. Whether that be time with the Lord, presence of God, just soul care. Here are two passages where we see Jesus everywhere with everyone. Yet we see this habit, his rhythm of rest, throughout the Gospels too. Rest is part of the mission of Christ. It was part of his mission, and it's part of his mission for us and our mission for him. You resting is necessary for you to accomplish the mission of Christ in your life. But rest is one of the things that creates margin. There's others, but I want to just continue to say rest is not just sleep. Rest is just space. It's margin. But I did once ask a doctor about some other things. This is just kind of an aside that I want you to have. And I said, okay, it wasn't 4. I didn't know it was 4. He told me 4 things, but I was like, put things in order, because I hear water, I hear exercise, that kind of thing. And I was like, if you could do 4 things, what are the 4 things and in what order? And he said, without blinking, sleep, water, diet, exercise. In that order. And so basically, if you don't have time for 4 and you can only do 3, stop exercising.
Yes.
Which, again, so many people move that up into the list. Diet, obviously, but water, drink enough water. But the one to really land on is that sleep leads the list. And in particular, he said, sleep as much as you possibly can, going to bed at the exact time every night and waking up at the exact time. That rhythm does something up here that you need. And then it lines up, of course, your body to receive water and to process food and exercise helpfully. The internet says both sleep and water intake are essential for health, but sleep is generally considered more foundational because it is a period of deep restoration. Without adequate sleep, cognitive function, immunity, and mood are significantly impaired, and a chronic lack of sleep can lead to serious health conditions like heart disease and diabetes. Proper hydration is critical, but the most critical life-sustaining and repairing functions are more heavily tied to sleep. Rick Warren tells us to divert daily, withdraw weekly, and abandon annually. Just Sabbath principles built into different frequencies. Margin is part of being on mission for Jesus. Margin in our time, margin in our finances, margin in our emotional energies, aka our heart, mind, and soul. You may have heard me use this quote. It's kind of one of those quotes that's just become kind of a life one for me. But this pastor, Brady Boyd, in his book Addicted to Busy, he's talking about the Good Samaritan and how he found himself at a place to be ready to meet a need in that story. And he says this: maybe the Good Samaritan didn't wake that morning thinking, I believe I'll hunt for an outreach opportunity today. But he had margin to offer God. He had left enough margin in his schedule, in his spending patterns. Remember, he paid for a month or whatever it was and said, I'll be back if there's more of the bill. And in his soul, that he could be used in a missional way. This hardly computes in a Western mind. That's us. How can we be expected to do something for somebody else when we can barely do what our own lives demand? whenever I've passed by needs, it's generally because I've been too busy or too broke or too at odds somehow in my inner world. Margin is my responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's no one else's. It's not your family member. It's not your spouse. It's not your boss. It's your responsibility. Now, communication is key. Pause point here to say, when you have something going on, we'll never know it if you don't tell us. So please, let this be a safe space for you to talk about when margin is waning. But ultimately, it's your responsibility to do something about it, and that starts at time to talking about it. Talking about it to the right people. It's no one else's. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Just a little axiom there. So don't do it. Don't water all the ground around you, but not where you're at. Don't neglect the ground at your feet. A few others, and these are shorter. Lousy lawn care habitude number 2. Over-prioritizing watering where you're at and under-prioritizing everywhere else. I want you to process this one not just for your soul or your personal life, but for the ministry or the organization that you're building. Okay, so think about this holistically. Back to the hose. Let's reverse the circle, as many people do. And what you get is swampy mess. Okay, you're sitting there watering and watering and watering the ground that you're standing on. The grass beneath us, but maybe not for long, is green. Remember the overwatering problems. But beyond it, it's undernourished or even dead and dying. The grass might look green beneath us, but it's not healthy. Remember fungal diseases and thatch, aka just dangerous or cancerous things that are present in us when we are overwatering here, but not prioritizing as well here. Shallow roots. We'll talk about this, but where health is a facade. I mean, think about that for a second, where you've watered so well, but like you're not ready for what the enemy might send your way. You're not ready for what the Lord in His sovereignty might bless you to send your way, or allow your way. Story of Job, because He's got a bigger plan. When our soul is not tested by days of drought and seasons of scarcity, you know, the physical ailments, the dropping off of kids, the release of kids, the moments in which our heart gets hurt by people in it, by people in our lives. When our soul is not tested by days of drought and seasons of scarcity, our roots are not ready for what storms and battles are headed our way. We've over-prioritized watering where we're at. We were made to give out more than we take in. If you think about our lawn here at the church, and many of you can think about it over the years, it's been green at times and it's been dead at times. There are times in which there's circles around each sprinkler, but not beyond. There's times in which I've seen it where it's dead around the sprinklers and like you can see where it's growing. I mean, many of you know this, it's like a sunken pit out there. It actually, the lowest point is in the middle, and so you have to get the water exactly right in its current state to keep the green year-round, and that involves adjusting water throughout the year because of this dynamic with the weather, the heat here. Everything drains to the middle. I feel like this is a picture of a lot of churches and a lot of leaders of churches. They water where they're at, maybe a little around them, but they've intentionally or unintentionally graded the surface so everything drains back to where they're at and drowns and stagnates. Now, why would we do this as leaders, as pastors? Well, it's either a problem with selfishness or security. And so let's assume this group doesn't have a problem with selfishness. You're good people. I think that that's not one we'll focus on today. Selfishness and its close cousin, competition, and look at me, or I have something to prove. Let's put that aside. We may have a problem with the other one, though, security. If you want to find out if you have a problem with security, be a pastor. Be involved in ministry. The longer you do ministry, the more you will be challenged to give up insecurities and choose the security that ultimately only can be found in a relationship with Jesus and identity in Him. We need security. The security of 2 Peter 1:3. His divine power has given us everything we need for life and for godliness. AKA, God has given us all that we need to do all that He's called us to do. Just enough. Not too much. At times not an abundance or an overflowing measure, but just enough. Just enough to get through that next week. Just enough to get through that year. Just enough to pay for that initiative. He provides what you need. We live in the tension. Sam Chand, a leadership guy, talks about that scarcity is the birthplace for miracles and innovation. Yes, he says innovation, but for miracles. For finding a way in our human selves how to innovate and create, but also like to see God do something that only He can do. Take a look at every miracle in the Bible and ask the question, was there something scarce? Whether it be finances or health or there's sickness present, that kind of thing. Knowing that Acts 20:35 tells us it's more blessed to give than to receive. As a leader, as a church leader, as a minister, do you trust the God of more than enough to release at the rate you receive? To release from Him at the rate that you need to receive, and vice versa. The scarcity or perceived scarcity of the life of ministry leadership has a way of turning us into the Dead Sea rather than the Sea of Galilee. So how do we fight this lousy lawn care habitude? We share, we give, we release. We're not owners. We're stewards entrusted with His resources. We're shepherds entrusted with His sheep. One of our team culture values here at One Church is the hand ready to release is the hand ready to receive. Open-handedness. We send people out just like we took them in. And trust me, you know this, they come and they go. Our campuses look very different than they did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. We receive offerings for missions and for other things that don't help us in our general fund. And that potentially in our fear, we might think about to take money away from what would help us here. We ready ourselves in our hearts to bless the next church plant in our city, in our community, in our area, in our state, in our world. And we resist the lie that because we've hustled so much, the time we've given is our tithe or our gift to missions instead of just real dollars that we steward. These are all just tendencies that would be part of this watering right here. Let's not fall out of surrender in some places by a desire to receive without a posture to release. Ultimately, in both underwatering and overwatering, we fall prey to weeds, attacks that the enemy sends our way, and the final lousy lawn care habitude. Emphasis on the attitude, I think part of habitude on this one is one of the enemy's greatest traps that we fall prey to. Number 3 is making space for the myth and distraction that the grass is greener on the other side. This myth creeps in most times in its stealth mode. Before you know it, it has sabotaged marriage. It's sabotaged ministry. We say things like, if I was in this kind of ministry, or this flow of ministry with this schedule, if I was this kind of church or this size of church, pastors say this a lot. If I was in this kind of city, if I had these kinds of people, this kinds of staff, or this kind of boss, if I had this kind of supportive spouse, we turn it away from church and we just say, you know, if my wife would understand this, or my kids would understand this, all these ultimately come back to heart problems.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen so much, you know, as I guard myself. I've seen it happen in teams that we've ministered with and led, where we can begin to think that the problem is that we need to get over here, or we need to become this, or do this, or whatever. And ultimately, there is an evolution and a growth that needs to happen in some of those things, but the truth is, there is a work that the Lord wants to do, that the second we put too much attention out here, we forget to water right where we're at, and right with who we're at with. If I had to tell you one thing, this is the thing I would tell you the most about cultivating health, about lawn care. It's the condition of our heart, not our time or our sleep or anything else, that cultivates health. To close, I want to give you 4 things, 4 heart things. Number 1, guard your moneymaker. Okay, now I'm not talking about your face, okay? It's disappointing to some of you gentlemen out there where you feel like you don't realize you have a face for radio. I'm just kidding. Your talent, your giftings, they're not your moneymaker. Your heart is. Your heart, when healthy, is beautiful. And it's on display for all to see. Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it is the wellspring of life. Hurt, bitterness, betrayal, unforgiveness, these are soul killers. In my most difficult season, someone asked me, how you doing? it usually comes back to those things. How am I doing handling hurt, bitterness, betrayal, or unforgiveness? It's not all the other things that are in my list. So guard your moneymaker, it's your heart. Number 2, protect your posse. Make sure those who know you best love and respect you the most. You see, it's often flipped. In the haste, the busyness, people who know us less only see the highlight reels. People who know us best, they see it all. And for them, we must have greater attention and care. I want my wife and children, I want my staff, this team, to love and respect me more than anybody that gets to hear me from the pulpit once a week. One of the reasons I'm grieving this summer is because you begin a sabbatical 8 weeks with a lot of dreams about, hey, I want to be this kind of husband, I want to be this kind of father to my daughter or to my sons. And you get in the midst of it all and you look back and you're like, I missed out, I didn't do those things, we didn't have this kind of just feel in the room or in the car. And you begin to grieve and think, gosh, what an idiot I am. Missed it. And so learning to live, but yet I'm grateful. So you live in this tension of not hijacking the system by, becoming emotional and then doing things worse. Showing yourself grace, receiving the grace, but then that thought of the Lord cares too much to leave me as I am. And so I can just tell you this protect your posse thing, I continue to want to do it well. What we do back to margin, we put these most important people in the margin when they really should be in the main. We run past them, we hurry past our spouse, who clearly has something wrong, we rush by our family who needs attention and care. We blow past our team member who's in tears. Make sure those who know you best love and respect you the most. Protect your posse. Number 3, 2 more. Have anti-shock people. I'm working on this right now because I'm in a different season. But have people in your life who won't be surprised by anything. The newspaper comes out with some kind of unbelievable report about you, and it's not good. And are there 2 or 3 or 4 people in your life that it doesn't surprise them at all? In fact, they already knew. I want those kinds of people in my life. Starting with Marcia, but moving on to Accountability Partners. 2 weeks before he passed away, I sat in the office with Pastor Brett asking him to lean in on this level and to be a pastor to me differently. And he said yes, and he said, when we walk out of here, set a meeting for June after district council with my assistant, and we'll meet, and we did, and he passed away in May, beginning of May. And so I want people who can stand by me and say, I know him. I helped shape him. So have anti-shock people, number 3, and then lastly, number 4, be a 360-degree servant. Not just for those above you, but all around you. The truth is, for you, it's probably easy to serve a certain kind of people and not another kind of people. You don't get a break. It's 360 degrees. Servanthood is their calling, and you never outgrow it. If you're too big to serve, you're too small to lead. When you hustle this much, at some point, like we do, at some point, you begin to set things up around you to be served and not to serve. Matthew 20:28 says, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. We must learn the art of self-forgiveness. That's what being a servant is all about. And servanthood is being content in your anonymity. I can't say that word. Anonymous. Some of you are in an anonymous season of ministry. Paul spent 14 years before he was ready to be Paul that we know. David spent 25 plus years in the desert and the wilderness running before he became king after being anointed king. Even Jesus spent 30 years before he began 3 years of ministry. And he didn't consider having to be held on to. Servanthood is being content in your anonymity. Be a 360-degree servant. Back to lawn care. I want to give you the obvious thing, but this time, the healthy lawn care habitude. Give appropriate amount of water to where you're at and to what's around you, cascading outward. What we're trying to build here in ministry, to our friends and family, and ministry organizationally, and this from the beginning and then throughout is this perfect little dome, ultimately, a beautiful grassy knoll, we'll call it, where we're watering our own soul and family so well that this built-in slope that we've created takes water out and down to all the other things, and there's just as much as possible. Water just keeps flowing because we have a connection to the source spiritually, and then the source that is just, found in solitude, rest, and those kinds of things. And it affects more and more people the more we do this right. What you're building is something that fills you up and blesses those all around you. That's what we're trying to establish with that campus, that youth ministry, the preschool, whatever area, your family. So, lastly, as you're praying and dreaming, remember, I say this often, got all these practical dreams that we want to see the Lord increase our capacity. We want to see the church grow and our leadership to grow and the team to grow. More volunteers and more staff members filling needs. And we want to see on a personal level, just as we take care of our finances and put the Lord first and tithe and give offerings, we want to see, as His Word says, we want to see that capacity grow. You talk about all these things that we have dreams and ideas. We want to see our family grow. We want to go from 1 kid to 2 kids to 3 kids, or no kids to some kids. I want to get married someday, so I want to add another person. I hope I'm just clearly saying, wherever you find yourself, you want to see addition or even multiplication. So why would the Lord want to do that if there is a chasm internally that can't support the weight of growth? Why would you expect every other area of your life to grow and not your need and ability to cultivate health? So we're here to strengthen the soul of our leadership first and foremost before we strengthen the practicals and all that stuff. So I've kept you for 5 extra minutes, so I'm going to pray and let you go today. Lord, thank you so much. So grateful to be home. So grateful to be back with this group. And I care for them so much. Those that are here and those that are not, those beyond. And I just am part of blessing, a conduit of blessing from you. I have nothing to give, but just ask for your blessing to be upon them with just soul care, heart care. Give them the right balance. Give them the right perspective. All this summer, the thing you've communicated to me the most is, if I want to see you do a great move around us, then I need to let you do a great thing in me, in us. And so we take a moment and we just say, Lord, for this fall that is ahead of us, a great ministry season, one of promise, I believe, we believe, we pray for it, unprecedented growth. Lord, we just ask, Father, that even now, in the weeks that are still with us before the fall begins, we pray, God, that you would do an incredible start and begin and continue an incredible move in our souls and our health. So we have something to give, something to offer. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, love you all. Take some food with you if you'd like to take leftovers. The stuff heats up well in a flour tortilla. Bye, Frank.
I do a lot of skillets. I'm like, I can do it. And it's like, look in the morning and leave it. Like I just drive in the middle. Yeah. Also, I cook from home. I even asked for RSVPs. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm surprised for 20. 60. I feel like I'm wasting food.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, not freeze. No, freeze. My family will eat like whatever you want. My family can't do.
I would assume
Like,
361.
that's fine.
That's what I would assume.